Sometimes it's a little slow. All right, we're going to go ahead and admit all, and we're going to press record. And Stephen Berkson, you have the floor.
And I'm sorting myself out just in time. So, welcome. The November 4th, 2024 meeting of the Oregon Country Fair Board of Directors will come to order. And we'll begin with announcements. Anyone who has an announcement, please raise your hand in chat.
I have an announcement, and I can't use chat. Sorry.
Okay. Well, you're the only one on the list, so go ahead.
I just wanted to explain that I have my internet's down, and that's why I'm not using my video tonight. But I am here.
And AJ.
Yes, I want to announce that the board just finished its annual retreat, and we had a closed session in that annual retreat, and no decisions were made. And I believe I wanted to announce something, but I believe I saw Sue's hand, and I believe she's gonna make an announcement.
Sue.
This is a hard one. David Henry Miller, far more readily known as Frog, passed on Saturday. Frog had been part of Country Fair Community Village and Saturday Market for decades. He was known for his joke workshop with kids at Community Village, giving kids a chance to express themselves and build their confidence. Frog also sued the city of Eugene so that more people could sell their work in public. It had been limited to a small amount of people being able to sell on street corners and such. Frog sued the city and won. He will be missed. He was well loved. He was a friend. Thanks.
Thank you, Sue. And AJ.
Yeah, I just wanted to add briefly, I met Frog when I was 18 years old, walking down the street on the U of O campus. And I have seen him and got to know him working with Saturday Market. He was the true definition of, if you can think of not judging a book by its cover, that's what he was. He was an amazing human being. And college students all around really got to know him, and he was like a staple in our lives for the years that we spent at U of O. And if you were lucky enough to stay in this town, you got to know him even better. So rest in peace, my friend.
Thank you very much. Last call for announcements. Is there anyone who has an announcement? Please raise your hand in chat. Okay, seeing no more announcements, we will move on to the minutes of the October 7th, 2024 meeting. Is there any objection to unanimous consent on the meetings as submitted for the October 7th, 2024 meeting? Seeing no discussion.
I have a correction.
A correction. Okay, go ahead.
On the vote for the EDIB task force, there was a statement I asked why I wasn't selected. And I added at that time, that I got my application in time. And that's what I would like added to the minutes. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Well, it's a correction. Does it need a second?
Well, it needs a second because you moved to correct the minutes.
I
And,
accept.
and then it
Second.
has to be accepted.
Second.
So I got John Alexander seconding first. Is there any discussion on this correction? Any member or board, anyone? Any discussion? Last call? Seeing no discussion, is there any objection to the correction by unanimous consent? Last call, seeing no objection, the minutes are now on the table as corrected. Is there any discussion on the minutes as corrected? Last call. Seeing no discussion, is there any objection to unanimous consent on the minutes as corrected? Seeing no objection, the minutes of the October 7th, 2024 meeting as corrected are adopted by unanimous consent. And we move on to agenda review. Is there a motion and any motions regarding agenda review?
I have a motion.
Go ahead.
John A. here. I'm going to quickly read my motion and I'm going to explain it very briefly as well. So my motion is to suspend the rules and add an item of new business to the agenda. This item is a motion to add Carla Haran to the EDIB task force. This was discussed at the last minute. At the last meeting, not at the last minute. This was discussed at the last minute and the motion was put forward immediately after the last meeting. And by October 8th, this motion had 5 board members in support of it. There was a clerical error on, Arna, I hope you're okay with saying you're in my part in that this motion didn't get to Kirsten, therefore did not get to the new business in the agenda that was posted 2 weeks beforehand as is prescribed by our rule set. And therefore I'm asking, the membership knew that this motion was coming. We all knew it was coming. It was approved on the 8th and it was a clerical error. So I'm asking that we suspend that rule in this motion.
Second.
Moved by John Alexander and seconded by Paxton to suspend the notification rule and add an item of new business regarding the appointment to the, make sure I get them right, EDIB?
Task force.
EDIB committee or task force.
I think, well, that's correct for me.
Okay, is there any member input on this motion? Is there any member input? Seeing none, is there any board discussion on this motion? John?
It's the EDIB work group, not task force.
Work group. Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing no discussion, the item is added to the agenda by unanimous consent. And we'll move on to member comments. Are there any member comments? Please
Are we
raise your
still in
hand.
the agenda review?
Huh?
Are we still in agenda review?
Oh, do we have more to do in, I'm sorry, do we have more to do in agenda review? So the motion, the new business is added.
Yeah.
You have
So
another
I think
motion?
this is where, yeah. So because this motion had, we've discussed this motion at the last meeting, yada yada, and that the EDIB work group will be moving forward in the future, near future. I would like to make a motion that piece of new business be moved to old business today.
And I'll also second that.
So moved by John Alexander and seconded by Paxton to move the work group appointment to from new business to old business. Is there any member input on this? If you have member input, please raise your hand in chat. Is there any board discussion? This is purely about moving it from new to old, not the merits of the motion itself. John?
You have to learn to say which John.
The only one whose hand is up.
I'm opposed to this amendment. I think moving new to old disenfranchises our membership. We have this so people have a chance to comment. I'm kind of surprised to see my colleague who always wants more member input wanting to cut this short by a month. There is no urgency to this. It's not like we have an emergency budget review or something like that. Carla has already been welcome to attend the meetings. In the worst case, by sticking to our regular business, she won't get to vote at the first meeting. But I don't think that's a big deal for somebody that got their application in late. So I'm opposed to this. I think this is not a situation where we need to break our rule. Thanks.
Is there any other discussion? Coyote, you missed member input. Does anyone object to letting Coyote speak? He is somewhat technically impaired. Go ahead, Coyote.
Yeah, thank you. I would just like to have this person, I am a member of this EDIB work group, and the sooner that we get everybody together and moving, the more functional we're going to be. And I'd like to be able to have her be a fully vested member of this group in order for us to all be able to move forward with all the credentials that we need to do this stuff. Thank you.
Okay, John Alexander.
Yeah, I was going to try to just leave it at my motion because I was indirectly, but maybe directly invoked. Yes, I do think that we need to create as many avenues and as much time for member input on things as possible. This was discussed thoroughly at the last meeting. It was stated at the last meeting that a motion would come forward on Carla's nomination immediately at this meeting, and it was stated that the intention of that was to have it done for the reasons that Coyote just mentioned. So I'm in agreement with Coyote, and I just wanted to respond to John's concern. And yes, it is my concern that we make sure that our members have time and plenty of avenues for input. And in this case, it was all there. It's in the minutes, it's in the recordings. So thank you for considering this.
Okay, is there any more discussion on moving this from new to old? Last call. So I had to make some new voting sheets. We're gonna go to seeing there's no further discussion, we'll proceed to a vote. Sandra.
Do I vote yes to, yeah, I approve.
The vote is whether or not to move it from new to old.
Yeah, so I approve, yes.
George.
I approve.
Paxton.
Yes.
AJ.
Yes.
John Davis.
Approve.
John Steinhardt.
No.
John Govsky.
Yes.
Thomas Horn. Is he absent?
He's
Yes.
absent.
He's absent.
John Alexander.
Approve.
Teresa.
Yes.
Arna.
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
Okay, and the motion passes with John Steinhardt voting no, and let the record reflect that Thomas Horn is absent. So that will now be the second item on old business. And all right, we will move on to, is there any further agenda review? Last call for agenda review?
Yeah, I do think I need to announce that following this meeting, the board will be going into closed session for a personnel issue.
Okay. And we are moving from agenda review now to membership comments. Is there any member comments? If any members wish to speak, raise their hand in chat. Hillary.
Yeah, I see both Sue Theolis and Lisa Parker here, and I just want to thank them for their board service and say it's nice to see you, and I hope you have a more relaxing year than your last couple of years. And well done. You've contributed a lot.
Thank you, Hillary. Any other member comments? Coyote.
Yeah, I want to, I'm going to welcome the two new board members and thank you for stepping up and being willing to serve our community. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of commitment and a lot of responsibility. And I really appreciate that you are willing to take on all of this responsibility for the well-being of the community. Thank you both very much.
Thank you, Coyote. Lisa Parker. Lisa?
Hi, sorry about that. Yeah, I just want to congratulate John and John on your election to the board. Now we have 4 Johns. This is going to be interesting. And I also want to congratulate Paxton and George on your re-election to the board. It was a good election, close race, and that's it. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you, Lisa. John Steinhardt.
This isn't original with me, which is kind of disappointing given my personality, but I want to thank the membership because the biggest complaint at the 2024 fair was the lack of sufficient Johns, and I thank the members for rectifying that for us.
Thank you. Are there any other member comments? Any other member comments? Last call. Seeing none, we will move on to staff reports, the executive director's report.
Thank you, Stephen. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time this evening. I want to follow up on everybody's congratulations to Paxton Hogue, John Gofsky, John Davis, and George Braddock on their election to the board of directors. And thank you to Sue Theolis and Lisa Parker for their board service. Thank you to the elections committee for their hard work on making this year's election run smoothly, and to all the volunteers that came out to help count the votes. I want to address the resignation of the archaeology committee at the October board meeting and the subsequent misinformation that was perpetuated afterwards. Here are the facts as I know them. Water Crew purchased 2 5,000-gallon water tanks to provide additional water storage for the water system. Sorry, I have somebody coming in that I've got to admit. This was a capital improvement request that was approved by the budget committee and the board. Many options were discussed about where to place them. Ultimately, it was decided to place them in the vehicle shed temporarily for 2024, while we continued to consider the best and final location for the water tanks. Water Crew contacted the archaeology crew per our guidelines to monitor the dig from the vehicle shed to the main water line in the roadway of Chickadee. Archaeology agreed to let Water Crew proceed because they were digging in the roadway, which was considered to be a previously disturbed area. During the dig, the archaeology crew observing found projectiles. The digging was immediately halted. I asked archaeology if there were any other options we could pursue. They suggested the water head end at the sauna. The sauna and our water system are connected in order to share water in case of a fire or other needs. We investigated this option and determined it was too labor intensive in the amount of time we had before the fair and the project was stopped. After the dig was halted, archaeology stated a report would need to be filed with SHPO. In an email dated July 2nd, 2024 from archaeology, it was stated that they made an error in judgment and should not have let this dig happen, that a SHPO permit should have been required, and that they would follow up with us after the fair regarding the submission of a report to SHPO. They did not follow up with the management team after the fair. They went directly to the board of directors with a violation report asserting the sauna had broken the law by digging at the vehicle shed. The report was factually incorrect in several areas. The board forwarded the report to me, and I added comments to the report where the inaccuracies occurred and sent it back. I did not hear anything else from that point on until the resignation of the archaeology committee at the October board meeting. After we stopped the project, we considered other options and decided to let the sauna connect to the tanks through an above-ground connection. This would allow the fair water system to receive water via the sauna's connection in case of an emergency. The water crew and the management team did everything we were required to do with regards to this dig. We respectfully stopped once artifacts were found. In the absence of the archaeology committee, the management team will be working to get a report to the SHPO. On to the business of administration. The 990 and CT 12 tax filings are complete and submitted. Staff annual employee reviews will be conducted in November. The Eugene office will be closed November 28th and 29th in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. It will also be closed from December 16th through January 1st in observance of the holidays at the end of December. Event management, as a reminder, the guideline change form is on the .net site. The form closes on November 15th. All recommended policy guideline changes will be published in the December FFN and be under new business at the December board meeting. The 2025 Spring Fling is scheduled for Saturday, May 10th at the Wow Hall. We are actually going to put the word tentative on that because we are exploring other alternatives and new ideas around where to hold the Spring Fling. But that's the date we're shooting for, and we will update you as we get closer. Culture Jam is tentatively scheduled for Thursday, July 31st through Thursday, August 7th, 2025. The 2025 Teddy Bear Picnic is scheduled for Saturday, August 16th. Craft applications are run from January 6th, 2025 through April 1st, 2025. Teen Crew applications for coordinators will open in February of 2025. Teen requests to be on a crew will run from March 1st, 2025 through April 15th, 2025. Entertainment applications are up effective November 1st, 2024, and will run through February 15th, 2025. For the site and facilities, we applied for an Oregon Department of Forestry grant on October 15th to support our Emerald ash borer efforts. The amount we submitted the grant for is $351,580. It is to support education, planning, and treatments around EAB. It is a 3-year grant window to spend the money. A big thank you to John Alexander and all the task force members that helped get this submitted. The release of awardee names is expected around January 15th, 2025. So I will update you as soon as I know if we are a successful awardee. On marketing front, the commemorative sales, be sure to check out our merchandise site at merch.oregoncountryfair.org. We ordered metal water bottles for your holiday gift giving, and they are now officially on that website. All of our posters are also available for reprint. There's also a fourth quarter direct donor campaign we will launch, and please consider making a cash donation to OCF, and we will provide you with a tax deductible receipt for your use for your 2024 taxes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we'll move on to the treasurer's report. Hillary.
Thank you. I'll keep it short. The budget committee and staff are meeting to pull together the operating budgets that we will present to the board on January 27th. And then the capital projects requests are due January 31st, and at the March meeting, we will present recommendations for capital projects. I got a chance last week to go to a luncheon by Oregon Community Foundation, and that is where our endowment is held. We are endowment partners with them, and I really want to encourage you to learn more about them. If you aren't familiar, their website is oregoncf.org. They have a new executive director as of the last 2 years. She's Oregon born, and she's had a illustrious education and career on the East Coast, and she is very excited about a new phase for Oregon Community Foundation to even be more impactful and engaged in communities. It's a very exciting community foundation. Not every state has them, and we have one that's very large and very dynamic. And we have an important partnership with them at the fair. So please dig in and learn more about them if you don't know about them yet. Next month, we will present the proposal for the revenue projection and the prices to the board, and there's a couple of large things in it that I'll draw your attention to. We are recommending that we keep the 35,000 people per day, people on property matrix, so that we can work on our growth and kind of hold things stable for a while. We're recommending that we try to put together a budget in which we can raise food vouchers $1 an hour to $4 an hour. And we're recommending an increase for the full price passes. That would be mostly the SO and the booth passes. We're using that terminology more now because in the past we had passes to buy and we would just say the dollar amount. Now we have a more stable name. We're saying the full price and either the discounted. We haven't really settled totally on a name. I'm not positive that the discount is the right word, but the passes that cost less than the full price pass are the ones that Community Village, Energy Park, teens, and elders get, and there's no recommended change for those passes. So we'll talk about it a whole lot more next month. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And so we'll move on to committee and work group reports. We have a list of 9 committee and work group minutes that have been submitted. Is there any objection to accepting them as submitted? Any objection to unanimous consent? Last call. Committee and work group minutes are adopted by unanimous consent. And we'll go to old business, election results, and appointment of officers. Is there a presentation on election results before we go to officers?
Yeah, I want to give just a brief report on the elections. So we had a good election this year. We have a new membership database that's actually made it a lot easier to track members and to keep their information more accurate than we've had in the past. And I'll give a few details on that in a moment. Also, this time, for the first time since we've actually kept member rolls, the membership secretary did not vote for every person in the fair. We changed our bylaws earlier this year, and now we are doing our elections by direct ballot. So whereas in the past, I cast almost every vote by proxy, I cast a handful of votes by proxy this year, and I'm really happy about that. I think that's a really good move for us. We had 5,830 members as of the registration deadline this year. That's up 10% over last year. However, we were able to mail 19% more ballots this year than last year. We mailed 5,470 ballots. That's a record number of ballots to have mailed. And that's in part because I was better able to track the information in the new database and contact people whose mailing address we did not have. So that was really good. We had about a 10% increase in ballots returned. And most of the other numbers are fairly similar to last year. There will be a detailed elections report on the .net site shortly, so I don't think I need to go down through every single statistic. One thing that's interesting is this election was actually a fair amount closer than it's been in the past. the spread between the most votes and the least votes was pretty narrow. But we also had a huge number of write-ins this year. We had 100 write-ins, and that is almost triple what we had last year. So look for the new elections report on the .net site within a day or two, and please contact elections if you have any questions about it. We also have an elections hotline, which we used we actually used one briefly last year, but didn't advertise it much. It was advertised this year, and I took about 60 calls from people, mostly people who do not have internet access or a good ability to contact us electronically. And I was able to help a lot of people with ballots, with getting them voters pamphlets and answering some questions. If anybody has questions about the election report or about the elections committee or elections team and might be interested in joining them, you can email elections or you can call the elections hotline. The phone number will be posted on the website in the elections report. Thanks.
Can you also, even though it's been said, Stephen, for the record, give us the results? Oh,
sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. I did that a couple of years ago, and it kind of felt silly because we were installing all the new people. But yes, Paxton Hogue was elected, John Govsky, John Davis, and George Braddock. And Lisa Parker was the other listed candidate, and she was not elected. She came in very close, but was not elected. So those are our four new directors. 2 of them are new, and 2 of them are returning. Thanks. And the election is now certified by the membership secretary and the treasurer, whereas in the past, we just had kind of an informal tradition of installing people at the first board meeting, and that's why we didn't have that tradition tonight of old people leaving and the new people coming in. This all happens as soon as the election is certified due to another recent bylaw change. Thanks.
Thank you. And so we will move on to the election of officers for this board, starting with the president. Nominations are open for the president of the board. Do we have any nominations?
Oops.
Arna?
I'll nominate AJ.
Second.
Moved by Arna and seconded by John Steinhardt to nominate AJ for president. Are there any other nominations? Last call. Okay, typically when only one person is nominated, then that person wins the election as by acclamation, which is the same as unanimous consent. Do you have something to say, Sandra?
No, I was actually no, I don't.
I mean, if there's only one candidate, then typically I was
AJ's trying
president.
to put my hand down, and
Okay.
Whatever.
Do you have another nomination, John Alexander?
I do not have another nomination, but I have a statement of my support.
Okay. We can go around and do statements of support, but like I said, if there's only one candidate, typically the election's over when nominations close. Because so you can support him, but he wins.
He wins, I mean,
do you want to make a statement? Go ahead.
I do. I want to make a statement in support of his nomination, and as such, a commitment for me and hopefully for all of us to ask ourselves how I can do better to work more effectively and positively with each board member and with specifically AJ, and ask as our president and ask that to myself that I act on those. So yes, I have a statement of expectations, and it's that I truly believe that we as a board are committed to working towards more effective and positive representation of the Oregon Country Fair. And I think central to our success is the board. And I recognize it's a really hard role. So, my support for it comes and anybody's does, comes with some hope and support. And I think one of those roles is that we ask that the individual carefully frame their own voice and role as an individual who's elected to the board by our membership within the confines that are imposed by the president based on the fact that this position is granted to the individual by the board and in accordance to the bylaws, and therefore is subject to the control of the board. The responsibilities and authorities of this position are limited to what is outlined in our bylaws and to what is prescribed by the board. And so I ask that that those responsibilities and authorities not be assumed, but instead that we as the board agree to quickly, specifically articulate what those responsibilities and authorities are to help AJ be effective through the form of a job description. I really believe that as leaders of the organization, that our success, our missteps, and our failures, both as an organization, as a board, present us with an opportunity of self-reflection and a mandate to articulate our collective accountability and enact an adaptive approach to improving the way we conduct ourselves as board members. So I hope that by example, we can better emulate the way for all of us to eclipse the reinforcing patterns of blame and reaction and defensiveness that seem to sometimes characterize the narrative of our community by all working to do better. And so this is a big job, AJ. And I really know you can do it. And so I'm asking you and all of us to commit ourselves to helping the board of directors start each day by asking, how can we each do better? And I believe this is how we can continue to build trust in each other and how we can build trust among the Fair family community. And that's a lot to ask. And so, yeah, that's a big statement, but I feel like my support and my vote is big too. And I think it all is, and it's a big position. So I'm going to do the best I can, AJ, to help you and do the best I can do to be better.
Thank you, John. I'm going to take it that nominations are closed because no one else has been nominated. But since we've allowed a statement, does anybody else want to make a statement before we declare the president? Raise your hand in chat if you want to make a statement. Last call. Okay. Seeing none, AJ is president of the, did I hear somebody? AJ is president of the, what?
I would like to make a quick statement.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you do it? How about you do it after I say that you're the president?
Perfect.
Okay. So by acclamation, AJ is the president of the Oregon Country Fair for this board. Go ahead, AJ.
Thank you. I first want to thank the organization again, and thank the membership as well as the board for entrusting me with this position. It is always been a privilege. I understand that, and I will always take that with me to serve in this position. With much respect to the whole entire board and the boards that have served before, I don't take this job lightly. It is a serious, thankless job sometimes, but it is an important one. I know that I don't, folks don't see all the things that happen and all the decisions, little decisions that get made. But I hope that what the board experiences is more and more collaboration than what was happening before. And so I strive for collaboration. I strive for us to be, to try to get to consensus as best we can. And I thank the membership for their voting. I think we are heading in a right direction. And I applaud everyone who was attending the retreat. That was a great retreat. And it was one of the best ones I've experienced as a board member. So I want to thank the staff. I want to thank Kirsten, and I want to thank the board members for bringing their best selves to that retreat. Much appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will move on to the position of vice president. Nominations for vice president are open. Sandra?
I would like to nominate Arna as vice president.
Second,
Moved by Sandra and seconded by John Steinhardt to nominate Arna as vice president. Is there any other nominations for vice president? Any other nominations for vice president? Last call. Seeing none, Arna is vice president of this Oregon Country Fair Board by acclamation. Did you want to say anything, Arna?
Just, thank you to the board for their trust in me. I will strive to do my best here. That's about it.
Thank you.
I'll keep it short and sweet.
With that, nominations for treasurer.
I nominate Hillary Anthony.
Moved by, nominated by John Steinhardt. Is there a second?
Second.
I second.
I got Paxton first. John Steinhardt nominated Hillary Anthony and Paxton second. Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Any other nominations for treasurer? Last call. Seeing none, Hillary is treasurer by acclamation. Do you want to say anything, Hillary?
Just thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Thank you very much. And we will move on to recording secretary. Are there any nominations? The nominations are open for recording secretary.
I would like to nominate Stephen Dierkoff. Excuse me, I'm wrong. I'm backing off. That's the membership secretary.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Anna Di Benedetto for recording secretary.
Second.
I would have nominated, but I didn't want to mispronounce it.
Okay. So Anna is nominated by Arna, and who seconded?
AJ.
AJ. Okay. Nominated by Arna and seconded by AJ. Are there any other nominations for recording secretary? Last call. Seeing no further nominations, Anna, help me with the last name. Benedetto.
Anna Di Benedetto.
Anna Di Benedetto is this year's Oregon Country Fair recording secretary. And nominations are open for membership secretary.
I nominate Stephen Dierkoff for membership secretary.
I second.
Nominated by Paxton and seconded by Arna. Stephen Dierkoff. Is there any other nominations for membership secretary? Last call. Seeing none, Stephen Dierkoff is this term's membership secretary by acclamation. And that fills all of the board, all the officer positions.
Stephen, are you going to give Anna or Stephen opportunity?
Would either of them like to say anything? Anna, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, hi. Di Benedetto, just think Italian. Thank you. I'll repeat what Arna said. Thank you for your trust in me. I have a lot to learn and I will do my best.
And Stephen, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the board for selecting me again as their membership secretary. We have some exciting changes coming to the election process over the next few years, and I appreciate the confidence they have in me to help us through those. I also want to say that I've been acting as the recording secretary for the past 2 years, and I've been working with Anna, and she's been kind of training her a bit on getting the minutes part done, but there are some other aspects to the recording secretary job, and I'm looking forward to working with her to get her eased into that position and help her as much as I can. Thanks.
Thank you. And with that, we will move on to the item of the old business item, the appointment of Carla Haran to the EDIB work group. Would you like to make that motion, John?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Paxton. And do you have anything to say about the motion before we go to discussion? John?
Carla reached out to me. I'm just really excited about her commitment to this, and a while back, and on working with Carla on many fronts, including professionally outside of the fair, and I really think that she's going to be a great addition to helping us along this critical and important path.
Thank you. Is there any member input on this motion? Member input. If you have any member input, raise your hand in chat. Last call. Is there any board discussion? Last call for board discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. Sandra.
Yes.
George.
Yes.
Paxton.
Yes.
AJ.
Yes.
John Davis.
Yes.
John Steinhardt.
Yes.
John Govsky.
Yes.
John Alexander.
Yes.
Teresa Vaughn.
Yes.
Arna.
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
And with that, the appointment passes by unanimously with Thomas Horn absent. And that concludes the old business for this meeting. Would you like to, shall we read the titles of the new business? Or are we going to do anything different, AJ, before moving on?
Sorry, we can read the titles, and if somebody, if the maker of a motion feels like they need 2 minutes to talk about their motion, I think we have time to do that.
Okay.
But please make it brief.
Yeah. Okay, so the first motion of new business is to change the petition signature requirements from a hard number to a percentage of members voting in the last election. Is there anyone who wants to make any statement on this motion before moving on? These will all be, of course, in writing on the web, available for people to read. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to OCF Board Giving Plan. Is there anybody who wants to say anything about that? I see you trying to unmute.
Yeah, I will. We've been working, we suspended our board giving during the pandemic, and until we tried to recover from that, and we feel like we're recovered enough to start that program up again. We've been working on new rules for board giving to streamline it a little bit, and so that's coming up next month.
And the next item of new business is educational programming grants for FAIR. Go ahead, Sandra.
I can do that one too.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've been talking about sometimes some of our educational areas need a little bit. We would like to see new and interesting, innovative kind of things happening in some of our educational areas, and budgeting for those can be challenging. And so we put together a program where each of the educational areas could submit a proposal to the board for something that they would like to do that we would fund for up to $5,000. It could be one or more different areas at a time. And so I think it will, I think it should be really helpful and interesting and supportive for people who are really trying to educate, which is what is, one of the main missions of our organization. So look forward to that, look into the details, and I hope especially those who are involved in the educational areas, if you have any questions or want to give any feedback, please do. We'd like to see that pass.
Thank you very much. Updated bank signers. I hope we don't need to talk about that. That's an administrative function. Finance Planning Committee 2025 review projections. Is there anything to say about that? Okay, seeing none. Yeah, go ahead, Hillary.
It's mostly the price proposals for next year.
Thank you. And with that, I see no further discussion on new business. We'll move to meeting evaluation.
I need to make an announcement before the meeting evaluation.
Okay.
There's a correction. The board did make a few decisions at the retreat. And so I need to make that correction. And we can move forward.
Do you have announcement of decisions?
We're not going to announce the decisions, but we'll announce that we did make decisions. Most decisions that are made in closed meetings are, if not all, are personnel, real estate, or legal.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Meeting evaluation. Anyone has meeting evaluation, raise your hand in chat. Last call for meeting evaluation.
I'm
Yeah.
raising my hand.
Okay, go ahead.
I would just like to tell the two new Johns that it's not normally this short, so don't get your hopes up. But a big thank you to everybody's organization that came forward and your flexibility with my power issue.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for a meeting evaluation? Last call. Seeing none, the next board meeting is Monday, December.
Paxton's got his hand up, Steve.
Okay, was that for this? Oh, go ahead, Paxton.
I don't know where it went, but yes, I tried to get my hand
Well,
up.
I saw your YouTube meeting announcement, and then I didn't see you added hand to it. Go ahead.
Anyway, thank you very much. I really like the way this meeting went. I look forward to really working together. I think we've got a group that is really looking forward to working together also. So I think this is going to be an interesting and very busy year. Thank you all.
Thank you. And with that, I'll return to last call for meeting evaluation. Seeing no further meeting evaluation, the next board meeting is Monday, December 2nd, 2024 at 7 p.m. via Zoom and the president's piece.
I will be short tonight. Thank you. Tomorrow's a big day. Take care of yourself. Do all the right things. And I will see you next time.
All right. With that, the November 4th, 2024 meeting of the Oregon Country Fair Board of Directors is adjourned.